title this video in a minute. It is October 19th, 2024. So that is a birthday of somebody that I met on the journey that watches this channel. So what's up, BS? Happy solar return. And today, what's happening right now in the cosmic infrastructure is Venus is now in Ophiuchus 2. And Ophiuchus 2 is basically the laws of Ma'at. It's your most ancient elementals. And on the video that I did right before this one, that's right underneath this one, where I'm showing y'all the different Sagittari sun, and then I was showing y'all the Rigel sun, and then I was showing you the Arcturus sun, because that's the one in Libra that's like linking in, and I was showing you those bigger and Pollux, and I was showing you how they were getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and that big one over there that's called Centauri. It's connected to two bigger ones that are called Cephi, which we figured out means cipher. And so today, with Venus in Ophiuchus 2 right there on these sun settings, and with me leading the collective in the sun and moon reset for an evolutionary M-sun frequency setting, that's happening right now. Venus has Venus has the inside infrastructure of the sun solar system that now, just in the past 4 or 5 hours, as we undid these ciphers and to Cephi, because what falls in between it is the pistol star. The pistol star. Have y'all seen my chart? It's a big gun. It's 6 planets in the 7th house in Libra, in the 7th house, communicating all of this. And I've been on Saturn retrograde this whole time. My Chiron is at the front of the gun in my first house, because it's where I've been not being able to complete this, reincarnating, becoming the incarnate, freaking being the sacrifice, freaking all that crazy crap that we had agreed to do, to come down in here, connected into even the DNA lines that you would consider to be the giants of the inside of the earth, because that's what physics has changed. Today, what I'm seeing is the 12, whatever the 12 souls were, the 12 souls in the family lines that in after death simulation, everything was being built off of and connected into from the past and the future, because that is what our generation had, was like an X factor. We were connected to everything before and everything came after. That's what made us so special. Those 12 beings that were tied up in their etheric bodies, tied up even to make your 12 houses of the zodiac, and the mythology and all the Babylonian DNA propaganda, because it's Babylon. Like it's even the reason that our languages are devised in the letters that they use in the different languages in order to make us as the people set our own frequency set. It's like our language even was setting our matrix wherever we were using these codes. What we've been doing over here with the House of Kochi, and that we're gonna have up in November. We're getting close. I've got 4 more days of intensive writing, and then we're close to next week getting it all up. But what we've been doing is here at the very end, with all the knowledge of the 32 star races, and we had to get micro in that and really get into detail into all 32 star races. And then what's been happening over the past 4 or 5 months is we've been putting those energies back together in a house, and each zodiac house now has an energetic sequence that's not just running on its own self motor, it's turned the entire wheel back on. So if you will, in the way the simulation was set up with these 12 souls that were bound, which again, we're all part of one, right? And this is really get involved in all the industry stuff, every single sacrificial stuff, the galactics trying to come back in and freaking take over, by all of that, all that's wrapped up. So anyway, that's what's happening right now. The other thing that's coming in big time right now is Persepolis. It's spelled Persopolis. It's your current Iran. Persepolis came into play last year when I left New Orleans, and we knew that we had blown a hole in the entire system, and the G-Core had come out of the simulation planetary system, because the planetary system is no longer governing Cap down here. It's the star energy has completely been retuned, because you can tune planets and you can tune stars. Stars is a lot easier than tuning a planet. But at the end of days, our religions and the things that and how everything was set up, even down here with baby farming, and why they were doing all this crazy shit that they were doing to the children, and da 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 da, was making beings planets, kind of like the gods, the deities, you know, because we were all planets. So anyway, those certain sequences in a planetary system are no longer going to govern an energetic of any made entity frequency, because this new DNA that we've pulled together from using the ancient artifacts, the monoliths, doing this naturally the way it was supposed to be done, as a collective, as a group of beings who have been bound together for the past million years, and then what's come of that, your oldest DNA strands, you end up finding out this past 7 years if you're connected into those beings. This is why we were so targeted. This is why they had to tie us up, because those beings down there are only connected into the past. We're the connection into what came next. This is also Arizona, so Persepolis last year when I got back, because you got to remember that us ancient ones, we do rule the underworld. We do, energetically. We now do. The industry and even NATO and even the rumors that have been going around forever that the government knew that the Sumerians were returning is not a lie. In fact, the government and the way their systems were set up in hybridization and the secret knowledge that they had into the tech, and then how they were producing and printing races of beings down here in lower sedentary counts to be controlled, is all part of what they were doing. So in essence, they purposely woke up the Sumerian gods. Now, what's funny about it is they expected a very specific type of being to return, and it's not what they got. They really did wake us up. This is all at the SpaceX and even Giza and the marker out in space. There's an earlobe that if you penetrate it, if you point the ray to it and it triggers it, then it's going to trigger a mass activation of what you would consider the doomsday seeds, which was a network of me's that had all this original information from the get connected into those entities in a bodysuit, hybridized, to be able to change frequencies up and down with it, to the point that if you don't know that's what's happening, it could drive you mad. This is what the government was doing. Now, When we came back, it was the feminine that returned, not the masculine. And it was by no means the energy that they thought that we were going to be bringing in. And it was the mastery of us ancients to not go freaking Lilith on them this time. If you kept getting called back to earth to wake up your children, and your children were separated from you, and you could only get back to try to help their descendants every 12,000 years, and every time you return they don't even recognize you anymore because it's the lines have been so depleted, so you show up back in your family, they don't even know who you are anymore, and you were only activated in order to come recalibrate everything to a different sun setting so they could take you back out again shortly after and then wait another 12,000 years. I want you to ask yourself, how pissed off would you be? Because there's a piece of you that always was involved in what I just said. Another thing that is coming up, if you've been feeling expansive energy, like to where if you close your eyes and you're just out into space, you're right where you're supposed to be and everything's fine. If you are getting like energy coming through your legs that gives you like a restless leg energy, that's mercurial energy. What that is Orion energy, and it's mercurial in nature, and it's changed frequency. So for the it's like the Osiris current underneath everything that was running in that slow lava masculine direction has now changed frequency. So if there's a couple of things going on with this, but it's circulation and the legs and being able to hold this new charge from coming from the ground, and your muscle, like it's one of those things, like you can feel those currents coming through your legs. I had a little bit of it last night, so I know, I processed this back in 2018, and it was like weeks, or I thought I was just going to lose it as I was getting the original Orion energy back into my lower half of my body in order to that was magnetizing me to the core and to the planet. Now I know, I'm just telling y'all, so if you're going through that, it's not like, or if you've already been through that part, it's not like that. It's more because once you open up and once you have that connection, you feel a flush, and you might feel like 20 minutes of it, or it might just rush over you because your connection's being utilized to bring it in to everybody else. This is what happens as you develop the ability to be able to hold this current. Everything is expanding. Now is the time to make any moves that you feel like you need to make. And if you don't feel like you need to make them right now in October, then get ready, because in November and December, this wide expanded energy is the best time to push things out, to try new things, to get back out there. A lot of us have been isolated from life. We've been isolated. I mean, I know a lot of us are getting back around to our friends, and it's like you're kind of starting to feel like a little bit of a new normal. A little bit of a new normal. Well, that's because we've got such expansion right now, and our energy is so powerful that there's really nothing you should be scared of not completing or not being able to do. It's more just about all of us reconditioning ourselves into this new frequency, and for a lot of us getting back into some of the old patterns that we need to bring back into our 3D world that we had to step out of when we went up into the higher dimensions of spirit. during these expansion times is the best time to make these moves because it's in a wide open space. It's not going to ping back on you really quick, nor is there any way, besides the moves that any type of ops would have seen coming for you that you haven't even done yet, which you've already taken care of in other different ways and you'll be shown. But as far as any type of energetic being able to topple you, now, between now and the end of the year, it's pretty much physically impossible for that to happen as long as you're in a higher current. Now, if you're operating in the low current still, you're going to get knocked off the bike as soon as you get on. So it's also a good little test energetically. As next year progresses and then the next year, then that it'll start becoming tighter and tighter and tighter again. And then we'll start having more of that bounce back physics, and it won't even be the same energies that we mastered this last 7 years. It'll be new types of energetic waves that we're learning to control and wield and manipulate and alchemize into higher energetics. So I just wanted to come on, give that quick update. Sun's going through these sun settings. Venus is in this Ophiuchus 2 Sagittarian energy. This energy is, with Venus there, is a really good indicator too of who's around you right now. Who are you communicating with right now? As Venus enters Sagittarius, who new comes into your world, because it's giving you an idea of an ascended. With Sagittarius, it's more mastery. It's going to be more elementals. You might get more higher teachers. If you're asking for a mentor or a teacher, this is the time they're going to appear. If you're asking for any type of macro guidance, ancient knowledge, now's the time. It's going to build the infrastructure to bring it in once Mercury and the Sun get into Sagittarius. Right now, this is Venus laying infrastructure. So that's also why the energetics are flushing through your system. I saw earlier somebody asked me where I'm from. I think it was Raj. I don't know if you're still on here, but I caught it. It said, "Where are you from?" And it's so funny, Raj, because you would think that would be one of these easy questions to answer. But it's not. I was adopted, okay? And I was adopted in Bryan, Texas. I'm from the United States, I think. What star systems am I? My DNA supposedly is Scandinavian, Czechoslovakian. From what I know, I tell people I'm German made and Russian trained. My DNA and my body were hybridized. That's why I was at Texas A&M University in the 70s, because I was made energetically pretty much in a lab in what you'd consider MJ12. In fact, a lot of the date rape babies and those of us who were adopted, and I mean, we're really like on the orphan trains. It's attached to Tartarian and different types of lines that we hailed from because we were caught in a system. And Czechoslovakian, German, Russian, Scandinavian. And then I knew energetically somehow this DNA pattern that we're all embodying that was able to hold the energetics has something mixed with tiger. Because they had done the pig ones, they had sheep ones around me, they had pig one around me that was the same 1971, October 7th. But somehow or another, my energetics are mixed with something to do with tigers. Alpha Dric, I come in a lot of ways. When you look at my star chart, I was a part of the Dragon Collective that was kidnapped from Antares. and energetically brought into a lower dimension that produced the Big Bang. I'll be back.